How's it going? I'm here today with my Ryobi Link box because I'd like a nice way to store my 30th edition tool as well as my dyed black impact. So I've devised that I will use this box along with some case foam to create some tool inserts that can hold my impact and my drill, as well as a couple batteries and a charger in a nice storage container. So as you can see by all the foam laying about, I've cut some of these blocks down to size. I got them on AliExpress, but I also saw them on Walmart and Amazon for reasonable prices. This was like $12 for 4 sheets of this foam, and I believe it's 8 by 12, I want to say. So I cut some of these down so I can stack it in the box. And right now I'm in the process of cutting this one up, and all I've been using is just this regular Ozark trail knife, and I did need to employ the use of this larger knife to cut the side profile open. I cut it on about the 3rd layer. I think this is 2 inches thick, so probably maybe a little less than 1 inch there, just so I can, get all the way under here, use this larger knife. But otherwise, just any old pocket knife has been going good for me so far. You can see with this outline. And I've just been working on getting all these lines cut. All I did to get this was really lay the tool down and then just go ahead, take my marker here and trace around it. So I'm just gonna continue cutting out the traces that I made so I can get this drill shape and the rest of this impact shape out, and then figure out where the charger is gonna go and whatnot with the tool case. So just gonna keep on cutting. Once you get the hang of it, this foam really is not too bad at all to work with. Set that down. As we can see, pretty good approximation of the front end of the drill. We take our other piece. We can see how it's going to cradle it. That was the impact rather, not the drill. So I have already gone around this once or twice, but you have to make sure that we're getting to that 3rd, 4th layer as far as depth goes, so that way it peels up nice and easy. And I do recommend getting this higher density foam if you plan on doing something like this. It's quite easy to work with. And you might even be lucky enough to get this for free if you ordered any larger packages or anything that needed to be packed securely, or if you work with parcels and delivery and whatnot. I'm certain there is loads of this stuff being thrown out somewhere. I have seen thinner, not 2 inches thick, but I have seen like 1 or 2 layers of this come, with tables and furniture and whatnot, maybe wrapped around the corners. And it is a much cheaper alternative to buying the stuff that is designed for this. They sell like a kit for these Ryobi cases, Milwaukee packed out, those rigid hard cases, the cobalt hard cases. But they're like $30 or $40 just for the, single layer or double layer insert foam, which in my opinion is kind of an outrageous price to pay for just regular old foam with some colors. See, this is where the larger knife comes in handy because it's kind of hard to get over to this corner. It's not exactly perfect, but it will certainly, most likely, do the job. So this was actually in the box like this. This in this corner. See the tab cut out top right. A little difficult to record this since it's just larger than the stuff that I regularly work with on my desk. This one, once again, I already traced it out, but I'm just going to go through again, make sure I'm getting to that third or fourth layer so I get a nice separation all the way through. Fairly clean lines. And unfortunately, I will have to have the seam here since I couldn't find anything large enough for this box without going, and just ordering the specialty foam, which is less of a do-it-yourself kind of project and more of just pre-made product. So hopefully I've got the right depth here. This corner here, I might have to cut this down a little because I was kind of relying on tension too much, but that shouldn't be too big of an issue. It's actually not too bad for my first go at this. Let's see if it clears. Nice. Let me take the knives out of there, so that way I can give it a little jiggle test. Let's see how well it holds down. That is less than ideal. So 3 layers may have been too much foam to take off. Yeah, so I may have to consider putting back some foam. I do have white foam. This is very thin, but if I use something like a few layers of that, I could create the effects of outlines, and it probably wouldn't be too hard to do that from the side profile rather than doing what I just did and putting it in from the top. Could certainly do that since I have fairly neat cutouts of each of the components. Go with re-adding the foam. I'm gonna keep these pieces just in case I really would like to do that. I'm also thinking that I can add some foam to the roof here. You could see these pieces kind of abrasive. They certainly might be better off with some foam padding on them. Yeah, I think I like that idea more so. So, laying these foam strips on the tools emulates putting them on the top part of this case. And I think I like the idea of doing something like this, maybe like a 1.5 inch thick, or like, I don't know, 5 or so inches piece of foam, and then just having them over each tool on the top part here, something like this. I know, cases, real cases, I guess, if you would say, have something like that sometimes. On the other side, like plastic formed or just dampers, but I have all this spare foam from the one block, so we're gonna try and cut a piece as straight as possible. I found it rather difficult to cut this foam straight. And then maybe just either cut this guy in half. Yeah, I think we'll try cutting him in half to start. Third layer. I feel like every time I cut it, it kind of veers off in one direction or another. So once again, something kind of like that. Just lay it over the tools. Let's give it a shake test. Yeah, that's much sturdier. So let me just get a dry erase marker. So if I glue these, or somehow attach these on the inside, about there, should help with dampening the tool. Actually, I might be able to friction fit these. There's these little slits that used to fit into these buckets that were in there, and those may be enough to hold it. Maybe just friction fit and then a dab of glue, something like that. So I'll cut little slits in these. So I just have them friction fit in between these little slats, and they actually hold themselves in there pretty good. So now I'm gonna close the case with some resistance. Alrighty, so we have that idea down. I'm just gonna use some Harbor Freight glue and pack these pieces in up here. So that's the general layout for the tools portion of this, or at least the power tools. I'd like to, I think, have a bit holder as well. Maybe sort this corner out a bit better. But now I just have to map out where I would like the charger and battery to go. So the charger, I was thinking about either this area or all the way on the other side over here, since there's like a groove here and it kind of matches the contour of the case. But this area could be pretty good, because I could kind of tuck the cord up in the corner here, and I could use this space under the drill and still have plenty of room for the battery to lay, either like this or like this. So I'm gonna think about that. Alrighty, so I've got it mocked up here for the charger, and I went and just scored real quick, and now I'm gonna go in for the deeper cut and hopefully get this sorted out. And I'm finding this knife sharper, so I'm gonna probably use this one, the larger knife here. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to start, I think, with this one with 2 layers rather than 3. Cutting along the foam. So if I can spot that out, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm just going to go ahead and plunge my larger knife here at about the two layers of foam. Now we've gone through with this knife, and this should essentially pop up. There we are. Now let's see. That might not be deep enough for the charger. It might be perfect. charger. And we'll just put the cable like that. We can see the fit around the charger is actually pretty good. But as far as the depth, I think I'm better off going for that third layer. So it is hitting and providing a bit of resistance. I'm sure it would be fine, but I'd rather just do the third layer and then similarly just kind of stack the foam on the top half and provide the padding that way. So you can see that's where I cut the second layer. Just gonna go one more than that. I might even need to go another layer since the charger is a bit taller than the depth of the drill and the impact. But we'll see. I might also need to go back around, use a smaller knife this time. Looks like I hit it at a pretty bad angle this time. It's all right. Okay, yeah. So now that clears pretty well. And I'm just gonna do what I did here and put some foam strips. We can see there's a support there. And I think there's one here or here. Regardless, that'll prevent it from wiggling around in the case. Although, I think it's making contact on the one side. So maybe I'll take just a little bit more foam out. Make it more level maybe. Let me take the knife out and give it the shake test. It's not really moving at all, so it is technically contacting the case, just barely. Alright, now there's a little bit of clearance there. Just barely any. So what I'm going to do again is something like up here, obviously just on this member, and maybe just these back, maybe these back two right here. I can just lay something across like that, and that'll protect it, kind of keep it from falling out. Alrighty, so if I position it there, we can see it hits just about the center of the charger, and it will definitely be holding it down. I just have to get some glue on the back there because this one is much looser held in position. Alrighty, so just like I did for these, I have it set up with the glue, and I just have it clamped down now with something covering up so it doesn't get on my charger, and we'll leave that to dry. And then I will figure out where about I want the first and second battery to go up here, and then maybe a nice little spot for some sort of bit set, or maybe just a loose compartment. I'll think about that. So this is the current iteration of the foam tool case that I've come up with. The drill slots in there, our impact slots in right there. Of course, the battery charger goes in there, and I've included a Velcro strap just embedded a little in the foam for tying up our cable. One of our 4 or 6 amp hour batteries go there, and another one of the 4 or 6 amp batteries can go there. And then here, I haven't cut anything out yet because I'm not certain which bit set I'd like to put in this case. I have a few that I use normally, and whether I want to go with just a regular impact set or fastener bits and drill bits, we will see. But then, just tuck this in for now. Case closes a little taut, but once you push it down, it will latch. It's just because of the foam on the top here. And that's it. So I'll do my best to find a good link for this foam. And the case model number is the STM303 case. Just a couple things to note. If you're using foam up top here like I am, if you use any sort of super glue, just be careful. I did have some of the glue come off on my charger here, so I had to clean that off because it was leaving like the white kind of super glue stains. I'm not sure if you could see them, but there are some on the top case here. So maybe let it dry for a while or leave it air out, because I noticed even after it was dry, I was still getting stains that were showing up on the drill. So the foam might either be reacting with the glue or it might just be taking a while. Also, just a quick update on the dyed tool. It's still holding up good. I used it a couple times already. The rubber did feel sticky at first, but everything is now feeling regular, and we could see nothing is coming off yet. Even if you scratch it, it's all ingrained in there. So yeah, pretty good. I might try dyeing some other tools later this year, and we'll see how that turns out. But for now, this is my Ryobi tool case, and that's how it all bundles up nice. So give it a try if you have one of these lying around. The foam was cheap. It was like, I think $12 for 4 sheets, $14, something like that from AliExpress. So if you could find it on Walmart or Amazon or AliExpress for a similar price, give it a shot. You only need 2 sheets to do this. That's it.